you are out there. Welcome. This is the Charge Life Podcast. I'm Joseph Barletta, and this is where we discuss EVs and all things EV charging. So glad you could pull over and park with us today. Let's get plugged in. Look, today's episode's all about Tesla just confirming wireless charging, their wireless charging debut. So look, I promise you, you're going to love this one. But before we begin, today's episode is brought to you by Smart Charge America. Smart Charge America has installed tens of thousands of charging stations nationwide since 2007, and they can absolutely do the same for you today. Whether it's in the home, commercial, service, let their team of expert installation specialists guide you to the very best solution for your electric car needs. After all, if you can't charge, you can't drive. Visit smartchargeamerica.com today to get started. Okay, let's go. Subject line matter. Tesla just confirmed wireless charging debut in the new recent Jay Leno posting in their review of the Cybertruck, which is about let's say about a 1 hour long. You had Lars there and you had Franz van Hosen that were basically assisting Jay and like a lot of the aspects, a lot of the engineering stuff that actually went into the Cybertruck. So one of the good Easter eggs was around 40, I guess 54 minutes into the episode, Franz is in the back, spills the beans on all things Tesla wireless charging.
How far away is the day of having a Tesla home charging car only unit, for your garage?
Well, we're working on inductive charging, so
are they,
don't even need to plug something in at that point.
Or
just pull in your garage, drive over the pad, and you're charging.
We already knew it. We were basically telling a lot of folks that were like in the headspace of Tesla. Oh yeah, no, they did that. I don't think that they're gonna move towards that direction. And we're like, no, you don't understand. Like, if you look at the signals, look at every single move that Tesla has done. Let's think. Ever since Rebecca Tanucci was hired at Tesla, we knew something was always kind of in the mix of wireless charging because she was actually hired from a wireless charging company. And then, of course, there was autonomous, the autonomous vehicle, the FSD release, right? So when that was released, we're like, okay, well, obviously you can't have full autonomous driving without some means of wireless charging or coupled charging that doesn't involve human interference. And so when we saw this push for FSD over the past, like, I don't know, 5-6 years, and between autopilot and FSD, and it's been rolling out, it's been pushing, and there hasn't been much movement in the realm of supercharging or destination chargers with regards to wireless charging. And I'm like, how are you going to consider getting closer and closer to this so-called FSD and not think about the charging aspect of once it arrives, boom, you have right there. You can't have a full autonomous robo-taxi network without wireless charging, period. There's all kinds of other things where, you have pentagram charging and all this other stuff, autonomous guided vehicle charging and all that. But that's like, you need wireless charging. And since then, if you really look at the past decade of where wireless charging has come from and where it is now, with companies such as Y Tri-City, with a lot of their licensing agreement, companies like Hevo Power, these are all wireless companies that we follow very closely. And we actually have talks to have agreements with, so where when they start rolling these things out, Smart Charge America will be ahead of that curve. But that's just for the FSD release. Like, how could you not parallel those together? And then, of course, if you think about Tesla's recently acquired purchase, I believe it was a company called Wiferion. They were a wireless charging company. They purchased the company earlier this year. And then later this year, in 2023, they sold the company, but they kept all the engineering staff. So they sold like all the other crap, miscellaneous, that they didn't want to deal with the overhead. Great, sell it for a profit because it really is worth nothing. Keep the engineering staff, which they did. They actually kept in Tesla. So what is that signal? That tells you that Tesla getting rid of the trash, they brought the actual executive team in there from the engineering perspective, and they've been working on this relentlessly. Now, here's where we were anticipating that the Cybertruck would have the weight tolerance to be able to add the charging pad, the receiver inside the car and the rectifier, kind of have all that built in. And based on that, we were thinking that the Cybertruck should debut with the ability to do wireless charging because all this stuff happened. But apparently, when it comes to acquiring, company acquisition, so forth and so on, like putting that stuff into play might be a little bit more difficult and challenging, especially when you think about everything that the Cybertruck had to do with ramp up, so forth and so on, and especially with the economic, the macroeconomic conditions that we're in now, with high interest rates staying higher for longer. not really conducive to something that they can speed through. However, ha, the Model 2, their $25,000 vehicle that they talked about manufacturing here in Austin and then repeating that process, thus there in Mexico, making that a big component of Mexico's gigafactory out production. And then, of course, he goes to Europe, says it's going to be done the same in Germany. We're seeing, okay, so this is really good. There's a little momentum. Pay attention to the signals, not the noise. So then you look at the Wiferion purchase, right? And then you also look at the Investor Day teaser. Oh my God, if that wasn't the biggest thing with Rebecca Tanucci getting up on stage talking about in section 6 with charging, um, don't forget to do cool, right? I don't even know if I can curse on this platform, but we're not going to go there. So yes, you saw a picture where she cheesed like that cafe, the little cyber cafe that they wanted to do, and I believe that's actually under construction right now. And then you can also see that she cheesed wireless charging there from the I thought that was like a bi-directional charging station with maybe a wireless charging pad. So it was like, oh, there's something going on there. But it turned out to be wireless charging, and that's great. That's what they were teasing, right? So if you look at all the kind of the gateway drug that the Cybertruck actually produces with regards to the vehicle to home and the vehicle to vehicle type of bidirectional charging with their power inverter, like I guess platform 2 that they introduced with the Cybertruck. They needed to get to that step in order to uh, go ahead and hook wireless charging into what we're thinking is the absolute uh, antithesis on robo taxi network, the Model 2 or whatever Elon plans on calling it. It's got to be wireless. They have to have a wireless charging pad on there. So they're going to do everything they can with 800-volt architecture, with reducing a lot of the wiring and electronics inside the actual vehicle itself. That's going to save weight. Put that wireless charging pad in there. Make it maybe even a part of the subframe, kind of how they did, and they integrated the batteries into the actual frame and the structural battery pack. I believe they're going to try to introduce this if they can introduce this wireless charging pad into the structural battery pack or the structural framing of the vehicle. That would be phenomenal. Can't wait to see it. We're super excited on that end. But yeah, I mean, the tease from Rebecca Tanucci during Investor Day, amazing. So you have that. You have the Cybertruck coming into knowing that, hey, look, they're teasing this bi-directional thing and this vehicle to home thing. So they have this new inverter platform and all of that stuff. And so just FYI, the main reason you have to wrap your mind around wireless charging is the fact that when it comes to utility demand energy response systems and so forth and so on, the utility companies will pay uh, you know companies like Tesla if they can extract some of that power, or if they can shave some of the shift in charging demands and stuff like that to shave some of the peak load during those high output times where the grid is really strained. And so if you think about it, the only way that they would be able to do that and control some sort of demand energy response mechanism with the utility company via Tesla is if the cars were plugged in and they had the ability to go, vehicle to grid or that sort of thing. However, you can't really guarantee that all the vehicles out there are going to be plugged in at all the time, with Tesla. And so, however, with wireless charging does have the ability to be bi-directional because it's DC to DC. So wireless charging absolutely 1000% can be bidirectional. Make no mistake of it. So it can be, regular inductive charging, and it can also be bidirectional. And now with Tesla's new platform, they're proving that yes, they have the ability to do bidirectional charging, but right now it's just the plug-in means with, of course, the power share feature with the Cybercharge. But when they introduce the actual wireless charging in their next model, who knows? Maybe they can introduce that into the Model Y refresh, which is the Juniper project, right? Man, we're seeing all of these ideas. We're actually seeing them happen. This is really exciting. So, again, we talked about the the T's and the Cybertruck and their vehicle to home, vehicle to vehicle, kind of grid in that bidirectional flow. And wireless charging has the ability to do that and it also has the ability to at all times be considered plugged in because you're parked right over that pad. So at any given time, the energy needs to be transferred to the utility company. They need to borrow that energy real quick out of your battery pack. You sign an agreement with them, allowing them to do that. You don't have to worry about, oh, is my car plugged in? And utility companies don't have to worry about. Tesla doesn't have to worry. It's already there. It just engages wirelessly. It's just like a signal on, boom, it engages. Really, really, really fascinating stuff there. So Again, we've been saying it for years. We've been saying, as a matter of fact, like our entire business model at Smart Charge America is like singularly focused on the adaption phase, on when the world transitions from kind of that cable plug-in mentality to wireless charging. Like we knew this 10 years ago. Well, we already knew, okay, where is the market going when it comes to adaptability? Is it going to the tethered, non-tethered charging stations like in Europe? I think America's too far along on that, right? The U.S. is too far along. Even though we have some in one of our future episodes where we'll talk about this with the new J3400 standard when it comes to the SAE certifying and standardizing the NACS connector, which is now, of course, their newer version they call it J3400. So yeah, look, this is all very, very super exciting, and it sounds like from Franz's debut on Jay Leno show that it's like right around the corner. So that's what we love. We love the fact that like we've been telling people about this, we've been harping about it, but like we're so embedded in the EV charging space. Like when we talk about this stuff and we geek out on it, like no one cares. Like that's not what they're concerned. That's not what their business. Like they don't see this. We love it, and so we were super excited to see that, and that's why like this like article is still fresh. Like you could refresh some of the news media outlets when it comes to EVs, and you could see Tesla announces wireless charging. It's like no, they announced it back when they hired Rebecca Tanucci. Really, that's what they told you. That's the signal. And then you saw another signal coming in when they started working on FSD, and then you saw another signal when they purchased Wi-Furion. Then you saw another one at Investor Day, and now you're seeing another one with the Cybertruck. It's like how many signals do you need before you actually start soaking this up? That Tesla will absolutely 1,000% move to a wireless charging standard. Now, curb your enthusiasm. It may be only for those destination charge, means, right? And so, and residential means. You still have, a number, thousands, millions of those charging stations that could be, basically we're going to have to rip and replace and put some wireless charging in existing corridors, but then we're also going to have to just start selling. The most important thing on the rip and replace is that the wiring is already there. That's the most important thing. So rip and replace and changing, a wall connector on the wall for an actual wireless charging pad shouldn't be too much. It will be an expense, but not nearly as much as the cost on actually putting together an actual brand new project from scratch. So we're super excited on that end. So go ahead, look, before we continue, just continue, like look down at the bottom of your screen. We are on the YouTubes. Please click the thumbs up icon down below. Let us know if we earned it. Yeah, let's get back into it. Okay, so wireless charging is, if you look at wireless charging as a whole, you look at those really condensed areas like China and Europe, you look at where they saw this coming when it comes to like their tethered, non-tethered type 2 connections when it comes to their commercial public charging network. They don't have the charging cables and cable management kits and all that stuff. They don't have that included on those commercial chargers. It's just a charger. You as a bit as a consumer, you have the little portable cable that you can plug into one end, it locks in, and then the other end plugs into your car. So that's great for the business owner and for the charging provider, but it's a sort of an inconvenience for the consumer. But here in America, they were like, well, let's pass that convenience on to our customer. We don't want to have our customer have to get up out of their car and have to do this everywhere. Let's just put these charging stations in and include the cable. But the thing is, we didn't realize is that if you look at China, if China would have done that on the level two, and Europe would have done that on the level two, it would be a chaotic nightmare. You ever see those pictures of Amsterdam with like all the bikes stacked up on top of one another at the bike? That's literally what it would look like when it comes to charging infrastructure. It's crazy. So, we're really seeing the fact that wireless charging, when you look at wireless charging, what you're able to do and create with the space around when you're designing your charging site, it's hands down, it's cleaner. It it's like there's no more cables. That's it. I mean, it gets rid of the whole cable thing. Like there is no cable. What's the best part? No part, right? So it does allow a frictionless charging experience for the consumer. So they just pull up and get out of the car. They don't have to remember, oh, did I park? Oh man, do I need that? Every little parking second, every minute being parked is charging. Sometimes yeah, we feel that we don't want to clog up that spot because we don't really need a charge, but it would be convenient to everywhere we park. We get a nice little top off wireless charge. That's when range anxiety will literally plummet. If you can put a wireless charger in every single commercial space out there in a city, just blanket the city with wireless charging hubs, there's virtually unlimited. Like your cars has infinite range because everywhere it parks, it just charges. So as long as your driving trips are less than 300 miles, It's perfect. It's a win-win. We absolutely love it. So if you look at there's no more forgetting whether or not you plugged in or not. We talked about that. And the vehicles will do it while you're parking. So yeah, we talked about that. And then of course, the vehicle's always plugged in. So at any given time, you are participating. Let's say you want your vehicle to participate in a utility program. It's always there. Boom, electric provider will just send out a notice to manage your response to your software connection on that end. Boom, it does the transfer. Everyone's all the wiser. So the technology, believe it or not, is proven in the wireless charging world. It is proven. It's just expensive, but with contracts and subsidies, they've managed to really pull that cost down when it comes to the price for the EV charging station itself. And so what we've seen is that it is in price parity and sometimes cheaper than some of the other modern amenities that people are asking for at the dealership. Oh, I want the new rims. I want the low profile tires. I want the spoiler on the back of my car. I want these. So a lot of the modern amenities that we're seeing as electives at these car dealerships when they're actually purchasing. If you look at wireless charging, if it were to be uh, debuted as an amenity, it would come in somewhere a range of, like, I guess I would say $2,500, maybe $3,500 for the station itself for all those features. And so people are getting like different, platinum, leather, King Ranch option on their trucks. I mean, those are 10,000 options. And so if you look at just option based, it is absolutely 1,000% like a much needed option where, like, I believe they did some poll where like 88% of people that were like, yeah, no, they would absolutely choose wireless charging, hands down, like over a lot of the other options out there. So it is a higher prioritized option that they would absolutely pay for when they're purchasing their vehicles. And so we know that there's a huge demand on it because the customers just don't want to deal with it. I'm right there with them. I hate charging. I own a charging installation company and I hate charging. I'm going to be the first to admit it. I'm a complete contradiction myself. But here, getting off of that subject on the tangent, uh, you look at the technology has proven itself where we're seeing that the wireless charging protocol has reached kind of a optimal level of around 11 kW all the way up to about 20 kW. So we're noting that we can operate in that range. But safety wise, I would imagine we could probably still operate between 30 amps and uh, you know 48 amps, which is where all of the level 2 destination charging and residential charging is currently at. So it's a perfect fit. It's right there. So as that price parity comes down, which it already is, I believe it's around maybe around, I would say between 2,500 and 3,500 from the systems that we've seen. But the key is having the manufacturers of these wireless charging stations actually have contracts with OEMs so they can include and build the actual rectifier and the receiver into the car. So that way, all you have to do is just buy the charging station, and that's it. The car already has the charging station. So the standardization around that standard, it's already there. And so we just have to hurry up and get these OEMs on board. And we're so excited to see that Tesla is committed and has made that jump and just announced it with a little Easter egg tease from Franz with regards to that. So we haven't heard from Rebecca or Drew Baglino or anyone from the Tesla charging team and community around this. And so, of course, Franz spills the beans on it. You would think Drew would have spilled it a while back or Rebecca would have spilled it, but it's Franz. So we love Franz. Actually had a chance to meet him at the Cybertruck after party. So it was pretty cool. So value conclusion. What do we see? Okay. Well, we always knew wireless charging would come. We knew this. Smart Charge America, we knew this as a company. And so it was all a matter of timing, really. I think we saw some companies try to dip their toes in it back in 2018. Timing wasn't there. It just wasn't there. So hopefully they've built themselves enough runway and haven't gone anywhere. But then of course you see with the SCE releasing its new NACS standard, which is the 3400 J3400 standard, which we're going to do an episode on that here. We can see kind of what lies beneath the wireless charging protocol with SAE's standard, which is the J2954. That's SAE's standardization on all things wireless charging. So the wireless charging like component and that standard is standardized already. That is amazing for the industry. So now it's not a Tesla, it's not a NACS or an SA, it's a standard that the whole industry can embrace. And so we're really, really super stoked on that. But these are truly exciting times that we live in right now, which we could see. If you think about like the GM's EV1 on their inductive paddle charging, okay, they kind of started it all. And if you really look at where Tesla is driving now, where we see Tesla driving now, they're kind of completing the loop. They're closing the loop on the wireless charging and really bringing to forth like what it all means for all things wireless charging. I hope that we can't get our hands on like I guess we could try. I mean, of course, you guys know we can't wait to get our hands on the first wireless charging installation debut out there. We're going to videotape. We're going to time lapse it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to shoot another video and kind of go into a lot of the specs surrounding it and how ease of installation it is, but also how ease of use it is for our customers. So we can't really wait for to do that. It definitely is exciting, and we know the future, excuse me, is finally here. So we can't wait. Um, but before we kind of conclude, I wanted to look into seeing if we had any audience questions. Okay, we have a couple. Let's see here. How would I get my Tesla upfitted to support wireless charging function? So that's a really good point. Is that that's Quincy? Okay, so basically, like right now, and if you want to put wireless charging in your car, like the guys from I don't know if I can say other companies' names, but let's say there's a wireless charging company that is pretty well known inside the charging industry. If they wanted to put their wireless chargers like in the car, what you have to do is you have to put a rectifier and a receiver in the actual car itself. So you have to bolt the receiver to the bottom base of the car's battery pack or whatever shield that it is. And the rectifier is what basically it just does some rectifying. It basically taps and pierces into the DC lines on the battery pack. And so when you do that, you absolutely 1000% right off the bat, you destroy the car's battery warranty once you do that. Okay. So most of the time, the when you pierce into that plate, most of the time the connection from your charging port to your battery is replaceable. You can just go to the manufacturer. They can take that part out. They can get a new part plugged in. Boom, plug it into the battery. Uh, Make sure your charging port's there. Everything's good. Okay, that's fine. So it's more of a plug and play option there. But they're saying once you do that, you pierce the kind of the corporate tail. You pierce the warranty on the actual from the OEM, and what that does is it as a charging provider, that charging provider to kind of ease the tension with the consumer says, "Hey, we'll pay for your existing warranty, so that way, if anything happens as a result of us doing this, we'll absolutely pay for and match the same." Uh, I guess guidelines that your existing warranty is within. So I hope that helps a little bit. And so just that notion of having to think about shit, I'm gonna pierce and void my entire car's warranty. It makes customers really hesitant to put this into the vehicles. But you absolutely can as a third party aftermarket, modification. Sure, why not? Especially if they're gonna be able to pay for any type of repairability that happens as a result of this, that's fine. However, I'm pretty sure it should not void the battery warranty on it, but it may void like the powertrain and all that stuff. But in order to do that, they can just simply swap it out. So, but that's a litigation that extra cost that a wireless charging company has to like kind of include if they want to retrofit this on existing vehicles right now. So we have seen Whitetricity and companies like Hevo Power retrofit Nissan Leafs, uh, both old school and new school ones. We've seen them do Teslas, both old school Teslas and new school Teslas. So it's already there. But of course, these are maybe company bought cars where they could do that, and they'll go ahead and work with all of that stuff. But I do know now that that is where kind of that support function is. But once you have that and you have the wireless charging technology in your garage and on your vehicle, to just download the app and then watch your vehicle, kind of go there. You're going to have to put your phone in front of you to kind of get that aftermarket feel for it. And what they're hoping is that once you actually have contracts with the OEMs, not only does the hardware go into the vehicle, but also the vehicle dashboard display software to where as the vehicle is approaching the charger, it's able to show you on your screen hey, this is where the charger is, and it basically is able to line you up at, right when you line up with that charger. You're matched up with that charger. The good thing is that these wireless charging systems are very, very, they're a lot more tolerant, and they are a lot more sophisticated than like your phone Qi charging. So it's definitely it's a lot more sophisticated. You have a lot more tolerance. You have a lot more space from the wireless charging, which is the magnetic resonance that's happening in between. So you don't necessarily have to like um, line up like parallel. You can be off a little bit, this way and this way from the actual charging pad. So you don't have to be dead on. And you can be, close, or you can be wide enough. So it does offer a lot of tolerance there with regards to driving that car over the pad. So that's really good. It's really convenient. So like you have to be way off, like literally pull it into the garage, wasted. Uh, in order for you to be like out of line, and for your dashboard to be like, hey, you're not lined up, you're probably wasted. You probably don't care anyway. You probably just get out of the car and do that. However, by the time we're seeing wireless charging actually get into these cars, perhaps your vehicle would be driving you and doing all of the work for yourself. All you have to do is just get out. You don't have to worry about it. So I hope that's answered some of your questions, some of your audience questions. I have a lot of information when it comes to wireless charging, because I've had to study this stuff over the years, because I know that that's ultimately where the company is actually going to adapt. So I have to really familiarize myself with exactly not only what's like to come into the marketplace, but how it all works. On a kind of a electrical power electronics type means. And so, yeah, look, we really appreciate you guys stopping in. Thank you so much to our listeners and our subscribers for your time. I hope this episode's brought to you a little bit of value today, maybe a little bit more than you had before. But look, I know we're all better for it. I love you. And yes, we cannot do this show without you. So thank you so much. We definitely appreciate you joining us today. Go ahead and click the thumbs up icon, share, comment, subscribe to our channel if you think we earned it. And thanks again for charging up with us today. Look, keep in mind, you can always find us at smartcharge.com. Remember, folks, if you can't charge, you can't drive. We'll see you next time. Cheers.